Actively, it is not a new moon. Just FYI, anyone who tuned in to today's episodes, I kept thinking it was the new moon, but the new moon is going to be on September 2. So that's in case anyone that has watched the other ones. But if not, I gave people wrong information and it might happen again. That's what can take place. We can make a mistake. Anyone know about mistakes? Okay, good. So flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable people. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So faces, that's what the IHP community, we have mindfully aware people for real, not pretend. So we know forgiveness, unlike those who are still healing. They get to heal when they're done, and they're done shaming people for being flawed and imperfect and humanity overall. Okay, so they're ready to be emotionally intelligent because they're highly intelligent because they've put into practice the emotional plane a lot and mental. That's what, when you're a functional adult, you have no ill will, equanimity. That doesn't mean you don't have a sense of humor. You do actively. That's why the people who don't have a sense of humor, they get pretty much, yeah, it's not. So here's, yeah, it's not interesting. When we meet Cusco's, we figure it out pretty quickly because they're like, how dare you? How dare you? And then you're like, wow, your suit's really pretty today. Okay, good. So as a human being, you have the power to shape your circumstances. That's what happens when you're a conscious being, which is why you're a conscious lover, which is why you don't have a saga or a drama with anybody. Okay, we're going to get to some other tower moments with the masculine, feminine, and remember that I use words however they may be. That's for those of you who are new. Those of you who will become regular, you're going to get used to it, so much so that eventually I'm not even going to have to say it anymore. No, I probably will, because that's me being meticulous in my imperfectly flawed way. Because, yes, you never know who's going to stop by. And I know that those left brainers don't really know how to put things in perspective because they don't have the right brainers with them. So they don't have their A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all can sit together and have fun. And so I like to make sure there's a woo-woo lady in front of you, and she's spiritual, and she's pseudoscience, and she knows it. Welcome aboard. If you didn't know what it meant to be an actual person of faith, now you do. It doesn't look fancy with a suit. Nope. We actively notice the pretenders. Okay, so as a human being, you all can do life consciously, because when you do, you can create the life you want, which means you have emotional, mental intelligence, which is why you do have happiness, fulfillment. You're not seeking it outside, you're living it inside, actively in your present brain, which is why you don't have huge tower moments. Okay, so again, new moon, not today, but we do have some channeled guidance as I was taking some time to get our lovely cards organized. So when you get some detour, a feminine knows it's not an actual detour, that we are being guided to expand. That's because the feminine is the wisest of them all. It's my body, but a securely attached body. Otherwise, you have a distorted sense of self with a shame button and a blame button and a revenge button and an envy button and a fault button. And they always like to talk about devils, demons, and Lucifer. The fallen angel people, they're fallen angels because they're still in the 1 to 3-year-old with broken hearts, and they don't go to heal their stuff with good therapists and stay with those. No, some of them do. They don't like us because we talk about love, forgiveness, and don't shame people. Stop playing God. Stop shaming people. You're not God. God told me all about how I'm supposed to be humble. I've been made the way I was meant to be made, and I didn't get ruptured because I got a child-centric environment. And I learned the wisdom. Guess what the wisdom is? Okay, so where are you? Earth. Earth, wait, and magic. Okay, let's remember. So it's a bit of magic. Let me inform you also of Pachamama. And Pachamama is the staff that we like to rattle. And I will not be sharing with you the in-depth messages of these cards, but they're beautiful. That's how we work. 5D Mystic here. So when you know what you know, so the story is, I'm 8 years of age. I have a little argument, fight with my twin, because we're fighting over a toy. Something like that. But it's like the middle of the night. And I get disowned. My heart breaks because I now have no sister. And I actually believe it. I remember. This is called an explicit memory. That's why explicit has words and images. Implicit, no. My implicit, for example, my 3-year-old hypnotherapy session. Wow. It's like when I do Reiki or meditation or mindfulness or anything when I'm connected to source, universe, God, call it what you want, but it's all here. Intelligence. It's a universal love transmission sessions. You can check them out if you want. It's bliss. It's more. There's so many words and they don't encompass it all. But it's not wine, said Guru. So you will notice a difference between what masculines describe as the lovely relationship with that which is the essence of love and life. That's because they were masculines first and then they got their feminines. The body. Mine is always a body. I feel that's why my 3-year-old, I mentioned my 3-year-old because that's my most favorite childhood memory. That's what my hypnotherapy went back to that. And then I got to gradually move into recalibrating so that I could coexist and play that game called life as Maria with other people. And actively, my energetic body recalibrated. And so I go from 3 being full of energy and like poofy, like a cute little, 3-year-old who's smiling, and always, and I still am, as you can tell. Wait, let me get something for us though, because it's going to be a part of our channel's guidance messages. As it's a really good one. I shared it on the Instagram channels. Life is a bluff till you learn how to play. So first you become earned secure attachment or you don't lose it and you stay a whole 3-year-old heart, okay? And then you're going to know why it's a fun bluff. So we were okay with playing poker. Anyone want to hide for a little bit? So we have fun because love, 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 na 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 na. Anybody know the song? Yes. So this one, there's nothing you can do that can't be done. Love. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. I'm not very in tune. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. And then they go on to say, what else? There's nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. That depends if they actively want to go get healed, but okay. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. Very accurate, yes. And also, let's remember, I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you. The gleam in your eyes is so familiar, a gleam. And although it's true that visions are seldom what they seem, if I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. No. So that's where we're at today with goofiness. Okay, so this is why it's fun to be a mystic for me. And it's also fun to bring you the sciences. As I was saying in my hypnotherapy session, I get to go back in time and then I get to move through time. I get to my 4 or 5 years of age and I'm recalibrating, and I get to my 8 years of age where I'm getting disowned, the story that I'm sharing. So implicit has no words. The first year of your life, like mine, only our right mode is online, and that's where the self is allocated. The ego, we're going to put it in the left because the ego gets to be the one that's linear, likes to understand. So the ego is a bit more rigid, but once it's playing with the self, the ego self comes together, and here's integration of the brain, your host right here, and mentor, and all of that, which will be the content that I get to create. We get to know how this beautiful love affair, it's with you and life, and that's why loving yourself first, and then you love others, and that's why it's amazing to have an oversoul and to channel. And so you all will have been learning this stuff, by the way, because the cards that came out share with me that you have been able to master your mental and emotional self plane and to bring yourself to wield your own future and fortune in a way of being a true nurturer to yourself. So that's the feminine. You know how to nurture tangibly your inner child and your inner child adult. If you still need to reparent, you go to therapy. And then you accompany it if you want. Obviously, if you can contain all of that comes up and use the mindfulness practices effectively for your emotional mental growth and intelligence, great. You don't want to do re-traumatizing. Re-traumatizing is not positive. Re-traumatizing is something that means that you don't stay online with your prefrontal cortex. And in fact, there are plenty of people that they use the squirrel from Cusco land. They get on screen, They're not actively witnessing, processing, and welcoming the emotion. That's why we have a Zen master who talks about laundry. He still doesn't welcome sadness in the absence of thinking of it as something that's dirty. There's nothing dirty with sadness. The shame continuum is one that continues as long as a person doesn't notice that they're shaming emotional stuff because of not wanting to feel vulnerable, because the body will have a sense of unsafety for those who have not yet welcomed all of their self, their inner child, all the way back to the 0 1-year-old, and therefore know the world is unsafe. But I'm as safe as can be inside of my body and my mind, and then with my loved ones, and we all wake up with our 2 hands and 2 feet and have secondary consciousness and move into another day. And then again. And so our actual expansion is true spirituality, but we're not this beaten up warrior that all these people who are 4D readers keep telling you is tired. The ones who are tired, they're still doing distress in their modulated embodied self, and they ruminate. They don't know how to do mindfulness living. Otherwise, they wouldn't always be so tired. So it's once you're doing Dharma that you know how to use integration of the brain, because you've been putting the mindfulness practices into practice. That's when stuff comes up, you're able to make sense of it. Your core, narrative, relational, and soul self are all one. Use your human name. You're one person. And that's where we're at. This is what is coming through from me and from my 5D lovely collective here today, right now, as I am also channeling. So as a creator who has ascended, you know that it's your life and the relationships you build is not in thin air. So meaningful life is meaningful depending how deeply you can feel yourself. And that is why the depths of how you feel, when I read to you from our lovely Poli Secure, this is very important because she spells it out very easily. Let me find knowing how to stand securely on your own 2 feet and how to be your own safe haven and secure base is fundamental to building your internal secure attachment. We need internal security of being anchored in our inner strength and inner nurture to navigate a relationship structure that is less secure or that is uncertain. And any person is uncertain. Okay, so it's when you have internal attachment and it's healed, if you didn't have it healed, that you will know of one, the 5D plane, and of being able to use the inner growth mindset and mindfulness practices. And so you're ascending versus just looking like a beaten up warrior every time and translating this card that way. And the energetic stuff is not. Depends who I'm reading for. So I'll know if this equals somebody who's really tired and worn out, or if instead it's somebody who knows what this is and it's not beaten up. And remember that these are from a 3D planet, the Tarot Rider Way or whatever it's called. So we have an actual reason for different cards. And I love all of my lovely Tarot Oracle decks. Some of them are made, they're custom made, and I don't remember the name of the person, but I love these. I can't wait till they make some new ones. And so you're that child, and then you get to dance with life, and you get to be part of those stars, okay? And it's a prefrontal cortex that you're using, and so you are in the present and always able to put your implicit bias, explicit bias to the side. And so the story is basically I get to my 8-year-old self where I'm disowned, and what I was trying to describe to you is the feeling was that I actively was disowned. I got to learn that that was bullshit. I wasn't disowned. And so I learned how to distinguish my Maria thoughts and emotions are not irrefutable facts. What I get to find out from smart people that do interviews on YouTube, okay, is this. Where is this lovely lady who gives a piece of information on this? Not that one. That one's actually fun too, but that's Dr. Daniel Fox. Her name, I don't have her name anymore, but she talks about emotions. Powerful emotions feel like irrefutable facts. Kristen Lindquist, I do have her name. And effective realism is when people don't notice that their feelings are not truths. Anyone who is unhappy with our spectrums and our capacity to talk about subjective reality. One might not have somebody who will have expressed and explained and supported them with additional information. So when you're assimilating from any of those extreme groups, you're not going to get the full picture. So the extreme groups would be the ones who prance around saying, how dare you use that word? You're a person who doesn't know how to use words. Let me correct you all the time. Let me tell you how to ask permission all the time. Let me... Oh, yeah. Okay. So I've met those people, like I've met the other ones who are completely like, oh, we don't like all those woke, woke, woke. And they're using these words these ways. Why are you using words? Stop it. But they're the uneducated and they're the rigid ones. They're uneducated because if they had in-depth education, they wouldn't be prancing around with, I'm going to block that. I'm going to talk about that person. I'm going to that. It sounds like that to me, that the voice I'm making is because whenever I'm looking at YouTube, anyone who's bitching about someone, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Don't you know about differences? This is something. So fancy lady here explains. She's not fancy, but I'm saying she explains it very eloquently. And she's one of the good ones because she's actively doing a good job at it. But she can be twisted by somebody that is the bad ones. Because for me, anyone who's wanting to shame humanity, they're not really where they could be. Let me correct my word. They're not bad because they're ineffective at what they're trying to share. They're also broken because they have a shame button and their tone gives it away, as well as their entire sentences. Because they actively want to say, I know everything and how dare you. And then it's like, yeah, okay, sure I do. Can I go? Because I really think you won't like me and I'm not budging. Did you notice that I won't be budging anytime soon? Yeah. Oh, I won't. Can we go now? It's not the movies. So here's what happens when you don't have a 3-year-old who got broken ever. You actively stand up like one. And that irritates the crap out of the ones who didn't get to stand up like that. Every time they're reminded of me being able to say, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's not funny. They actively don't have the opportunity. If they want, they can. It's called go to good therapy. Get your ass together, figure it out, and then come back around and have fun in life and stop being an asshole, quote unquote. Oh, I can be an asshole too. I'm just not trying. And that's where you can try to be as compassionate, understanding, chit-chattery as can be. I was a teenager when I found out you can't prove intent. And smart people and I have conversations, and we came to arrive at the awareness of that together as well. And I'm like, yes, that's why I don't try to. Which is actively why anyone who wants to question me with whatever fucking tone they may come about, I'm just going to stare at them. And once they're done, I'm going to be like, okay, are we done? And I don't have people like that. Because actively, I'm pretty sure my vibe will give off you're a stupid human being, which is good, because it's better to be stupid than to be with closed-minded human beings. Or it'll be something like, oh, she's hiding something. I know she is. She can't be smiling like that. That's impossible. So it's a sad business to find out that there are people who trust kind people less because they actively have black and white thinking, split thinking. They actively think of partners as battlefields, and that's where all the people who want to shame humanity, they are still broken inside. So it's not funny to me, but they don't believe in any of the good attachment trauma information. They also don't believe that we are part of the source of creation, which is everywhere, and it's within me and outside, and that we're all one big ball of energy. I know we are. That's why I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. So there isn't this inherent battle between good and evil. There isn't an inherent battle between dark energy or light energy. There isn't for the 5D oneness consciousness. Christ taught, forgive, for they do not know. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. You don't need eyes to see. You don't even need ears to hear. Because I'm a nervous system and so are you. And my nervous system is going to regulate to yours because I'm a mammal and so are you. Even if you don't know how to regulate in your social engagement system, I'm going to know what you're regulating in. Because I am part of the animal kingdom. And if there's one thing that the animal kingdom we all have, it's called primary consciousness. My gut is a good gut. I don't have a distorted lens. My eyes are not distorted. This one, the right mode, however that works. You see? So a safely, securely attached 1-year-old, 3-year-old is basically unwavering For the fact is, I know what your gut is doing before you will even know. And my gut, I listen to. Because my mind, my masculine and my feminine, divine, oh, believe me, it's all here. My embodied brain protects Maria. And so, it doesn't betray me at all. That's why the poor children who stay in shame, their body didn't betray them. Their body protected them. It's not their fault they don't want to listen to the good psych educators who tell them you're not defective. They actively go to therapists and say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And they try to explain, no, what you have is, and they explain what the trauma is, and then the adaptive and maladaptive child pattern behaviors. And the people who choose their self, they say, yeah, I want to love myself. I deserve this. That's why there's people like Patrick Tian for the childhood trauma survivors who want to go heal. And then they can stay and be with their group and they choose not to forgive. That's their choice. They're on a journey though. At least they took the time to say, I'm going to save myself because I want to live life, which is way different than, by the way, the mystics who are 4D, 3D, and they're not bringing forth any of what is for the spiritual human being who is of faith. It was very clear how Jesus spoke and how I got taught catechism. And that's why it was very clear once I saw there's no evil, fallen angels. What are we talking about? There's no monsters. There's people who are sad and mad and moody. And then there's this and this. So the unkindness, it all stems, as well as shaming, blaming, faulting, and revenging, not from a Lucifer. I will not be using a Lucifer as a story. I will be using Michael Stone, forensic criminologist, with his evil scale, meaning, yeah, everyone uses words, but the ones who use it in a way of dehumanizing people, they're not mindfully aware of how they're using their mouth because their heart isn't mindfully aware of being closed. Their heart is closed. The minute that you are so rigid to actively speak in a way of anything with the thoughts and feelings of yours as irrefutable facts, I will be able to notice. People will point to me and say, but you do the same. The people who say that, they don't hear my tone because they don't have the capacity to hear the difference between a person who is sharing something from a ventral vagal state, which is this, versus a person who's making a blanket, unbridled self-expression comment. And I'll be able to know because I know my intent. But I also know I can't prove it, which is also why I don't try. And it's also why when someone does present something like that, I say, yes, I am making a statement. And yes, it is an opinion, but the difference is I'm not saying it's a blanket truth, which does make a difference because it makes me mindfully aware that I've never walked one day in your shoes. And you know who's going to notice that difference? The person who does want to welcome their self back home. Because I'm an equanimous human being in a prefrontal cortex who's curious, open, accepting, and loving, and am not judgmental. And I'm not a closed heart who says, I know everything. That's a bitch, and that's a witch, and that's an unkind human being, and all this other shit that goes on in the brains of people that if only they knew how easy it is for us to read each other. And I was a teen without even knowing of Stephen Porges. And I knew you can't hide who you are from people. And now I know how to explain it. You wear your heart on your face, not on your sleeve, but we could wear it both. But basically, again, you're an embodied brain. As Stephen Porges explains, our nervous systems calibrate to each other. So when I'm in a room, I'm a blank guitar string because I'm a confident human being who has no trauma charges. While in the room, if there's anybody who has trauma charges, whatever wants to come up will begin to come up. And then there'll be those groups that will get curious, the ones who won't, and really it's not groups because I don't bring myself to groups like that. But I'm just saying this is actively how it works. It's nervous systems. So the safe haven, secure base nervous system, let me give you a story. And that's because I'm not able to observe myself whenever I'm out, but there are others who will. So when you have secure attachment and you're not judgmental, the way I just finished describing to you. So let me close the channel. Guidance was simply welcome aboard to all of those of you who are finally awakened to yourself, welcoming yourself, and ready to be mindfully living and get to not have laundry in your body, to be able and be present because you're now able to be aware of the actual body and your inner child and to have an open heart and to forgive very easily, again, and not to create groups. And we'll keep talking about that one. But I'll close out with a story. And as the light goes down, so I have enough to stay visible. So this human being, who I believe did die, unfortunately, my close friend told me that they think that they died. And so, trigger warning if some of you are sensitive, I guess. I don't know, I don't use these words, but you can log off. Bye. Thank you for stopping by. Um, the person, I had the capacity to encounter them a couple times at the place I frequent. And there they were, if they did die, a math teacher. They had had a psychotic breakdown and or some stuff go down. They had been sent to get therapy of some sort, but I'm not really sure the whole story. But they were still not doing great. They did live with families, so they were not left alone to their own, and they had a job with kids. So they would come out every now and then. And in fact, they talked to me, my family, people that, friends, member of society that hasn't broken, didn't break any laws, none of that. Okay. So we're at this place, and I am actively just wanting to enjoy myself. And this person is banging their hand on the bar, and it's really loud, it's really annoying. And I just want to enjoy a little bit of calm, So I actively, at a certain point, turn around and say, "Can you please stop? Some of us are trying to enjoy ourselves." And there's two men. These two men, thank goodness, they don't come by anymore because I don't feel that they are in any way, shape, or form safe at all. But again, that's just a gut feeling. They've never done anything, but that's what my gut says. So these two people, I still know who they are, and if I ever see them, as long as I'm with people, I'm good. But if I'm not with people, then I probably will at some point, want to leave or something. That's how it feels. But the two people are sitting in between me. I'm over here. There's two, and then the man who's doing this, and one of them turns to me and says, "I know, what's wrong with people? How rude." I end up finding out these two human beings are this person's friends. They've known each other since high school. So the one who turned around and actively told me, as I'm complaining because I'm trying to enjoy myself, "This person's making a lot of noise for no reason. I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Why are you out? You're moody, whatever." Even though it's, a place where you drink, so this can happen, right? But I find out that they've known each other since high school, so that's a shitty friend. But I also find out that these same two people are the ones who offer. Actually, the guy puts it this way: they made me do cocaine. These are adult men. I didn't see any of this. This is after. So let me come back. But this is what I'm like, okay, that's just wow. Because this human being had taken medication, because they have medication for whatever was going on with their depression. I don't know, and they were drinking, and they were needing to get better. So there were people trying to give water, and he got home and all that. But that's what I was saying, when I found out that he could be passed away, he was not doing well. He was not doing well. And actively in this evening, what happened could have been something very dangerous. You're not supposed to drink with taking medication, let alone do cocaine. It's bad for you. It's a sad, sad story. But meantime, I'm telling it to you all because of the observation that comes at the end of this evening, just so you stay on track with the story. So, meantime, I repeat myself at a certain point because the human being is still making noise. So I turn and now firmly say, "Can you please stop? This is annoying. Can you?" And he then starts telling a story. I have to do this because the kids, they don't listen to me. They don't listen to me if I don't yell, his students. And I say, "Well, you're not in school right now. We're out. You're not in school. Can you please stop?" Because again, some of us are trying to enjoy ourselves. You're making a lot of noise. And so eventually I'm just hoping they leave. They leave with the two men that I don't appreciate, and that they go off. And then when he comes back, it's because they had brought him out to go and do cocaine. I didn't know any of this again until then. He's back, and I'm sitting and I'm trying to continue to enjoy the evening, and I'm actively not engaging with the person because I don't want to. But we're all together, and I have my friends with me, so it's cool. I know that I'm safe, and they don't look good. They do this, and I'm just like, my friend though, one of them starts to talk to them, and then that person starts to talk to me, and now I find myself basically babysitting a human being as I'm engaging in what is a unnecessary and unuseful conversation as they talk to me about their students not listening to them, and so really it's just something that is them sharing their upset. And then I ask, are you okay? You seem pretty off. Don't you think you might need to go home? And here's where they say, my friends made me do cocaine. And I'm like, well, that's not good. Do you need help? Do we need to get you help? Do you need anything? And he's, oh, no. So he keeps drinking water, and he gets better, and then he goes home. And the observation of those around were and was directed at me. Did you notice that you calmed them down? You got them to calm down. I didn't notice any of it because I actively was simply engaging with the person, and that's all. Annoyed, not really, but at the same time, I was out to have a good time, not to do what happened. In fact, I actively told my friend, it's your fault. Again, you like to engage with people, and then I get to be stuck with them, chatting with me or being here, and I didn't want to engage with them. Why do you do this? Every time you do this, it's my big man, baby friend child who always will engage with someone. And since we sit near each other usually, then they'll start engaging with me. But the part about our nervous systems, the reason mine was able to do what another person can observe from the external is because of being in my social engagement, being in a brain that is present and having no judgment. I'm not judging the person. I was annoyed for personal reasons, not because their behavior was annoying me. Their behavior was annoying, if anything, probably because their nervous system was not well. Okay, so that's the deeper layer that people don't talk to about when they're mystics and not in the 5D plane. At least, again, I'm the 5D plane. It's not a category, but that's where integration of the brain is going to be a part of it. And so I'm sure we have other individuals out there who, with their integrated brain, can explain things to you with the same type of different storytelling than what 4D does. If we had a somatic empath, an enlightened somatic empath, probably like a Dr. Daniel Siegel, I'm sure he would be able to replicate stories similar because of being the same type of person who's able to be aware of their environment. And so the 5D collective, by the way, has been known since I was introduced to it that they bring harmony. And now I can explain to you why. And that's because of Stephen Porges. And that's because of me being able to share with you we're mammals. We're all mammals and we calibrate. And the minute that I'm not judging you, my nervous system will give you that. And if you're looking for any soothing whatsoever, it doesn't matter that you don't welcome yourself and you don't heal, but your nervous system is automatically going to recalibrate because I'm not fueling the fire. I'm not actively instigating anything because I don't have fear of you, like even those other men. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not in physical peril or danger. No, I don't trust. They're not trustworthy in that there's a vibe that is, you do stuff. And in fact, confirmation was when he comes back all by himself and they left him all by himself, but they gave him cocaine. And him saying they made me, well, I mean, they've known each other since high school, so here's peer pressure, because as long as you're not the emotionally mature version of yourself, your 16-year-old is actively leading the way. And that's with my lovely teacher, Sue Martin, who explains our charge states, and actively a human being who's an adult who says, my friends made me do it. You are still your teenage version, adaptive, maladaptive child pattern behavior who needs a therapist and a long road to healing, and then not having those friends anymore who don't care, by the way, about your well-being because they actively lied when they were presented with your friends bothering by saying, we don't know them, what an idiot. So you lied, and then you brought him somewhere when he needed to just go home. And, the saddest part for me is that I've seen this behavior, and in fact, it's with adolescents that need better role models, not movies like Hangover or Mean Girls that actually don't. They need better role models everywhere. And it's not about ceasing activities. It's actively sharing what healthy self-worth people do, which is none of that. This is exactly where any person who is not going to support my physical, emotional, or mental well-being, they will not be the people that I look to for feedback, if you will. The people who I know tend to care for our herd in a healthy way, not based on your belief, not based on your religion, it's not based on your personal stuff. It's based on what you know is mentally, emotionally, and physically sustainable, the basics to live. So you are a human who's mature to me when you understand you have thoughts, emotions that are yours. And that's why we have subjective reality. Then we have a group of people who think they know everything and just, they're going to keep doing their thing. But the people who care about the bigger picture, you will know who they are because they will not actively support what is a lifestyle that, mathematically speaking, it's not about Lucifer, it's not about unkindness, it's not about shaming, it's not about you looking with your eyes at what a person is. It's you understanding what life is made of: air, water, food. You're a mammal. Your 1-year-old wanted to securely attach. You're a mammal. You're not here to spend life alone. If your body is still not comfortable with humans, your body is not comfortable with humans because of a rupture. The basics share with you that the updated attachment trauma. So putting that again to the side too, though, if a person and people around you, they want your well-being, then they will present to you moderation, and they will present to you education, and they will present to you all information, and they will not tell you what to believe in and what not to believe in. They will ensure you know of decency. And so I'm going to close it out with that one. It's a joke, a Neapolitan one, I think, or a skit or something like that. There's a poor man and a rich man. They've been put next to each other in a grave. And the poor man is always getting crap from the rich man because the rich man is a snoot. So people who are shallow enough to follow human beings who have fancy suits and speak eloquently and like to use words and then put people against each other and think we need to be shaming people. So anytime I meet a person who casts a stone, I know who they are. I was shaming people. Not really. I was saying, you're good, you're bad. You're good, you're bad. As a teenager, I found out that that was casting a stone. I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. And that was my first lesson of how not to do that. And then I got another lesson too of how I don't know everything and how to mind my own business because I don't know everybody's experience. Okay. And I remember that one. And those were my 2 solo lessons, if you will, on how to, okay, I got it. God, humble, don't cast a stone, forgive, to continue doing you. And who does for themselves does for 3. That's another Neapolitan saying. And that actively is true. I can do things 100% perfect for Maria. All of it. Every single mental, emotion, physical thing that makes me happy, I can do. And my body protects me, and so does my brain. So I don't give it crap at all. There's no crap. Nope. Actively no crap. If I'm breathing, I'm good. I'm healthy and good again. Okay, so the rich man and poor man thing, this rich man just keeps on whining and complaining, and the poor man turns to him and says, just be done with it already. We're both in the grave. We're both here. We're both dead. So you acting like you're better than me, basically. That's not how it works. And I'm going to say any decent human being who has mental, emotional, and physical intelligence is going to know this. So they don't fall for the crowd, and they actively do not appreciate. I don't actively, I don't want to use the word respect because you have to respect all, if you will. And I should actively, since they do maintain a specific balance. See, I keep on forgetting. Those are those parts that sciences keeps me humble and in the check of things, the masculines as well. So what I was trying to get to is I don't appreciate those who are still promoting and supporting casting of stones. And that's because it's not nice to do it. You've not walked one day in a person's shoes. And as a society, we have laws that enable us to go to that and change that. And at the same time, we're collective. So all voices do sound out. The ones that are more empowering are the ones that you will resonate with if you're still watching this. And if you instead want the right or wrong, then you're not going to resonate with anything at IHP because nobody's right or wrong. There are rights and wrongs according to subjective experiences of people. Yeah, there are rights and wrongs for me. My right as I don't impact you physically, emotionally, or mentally, which means we get to respect all people, see them, and figure out a way to have coexistence. That's actively the number one thing. I'm here to respect the ecosystem. I'm here to participate to a globe. I'm here to witness, to see, and to support others to feel safe to be their self. However, this looks, I don't give it titles. I say, I know that all people are here, which is why the words aren't what tell you where we're headed. It's actively how we're treating each other and how inclusive you are. And the people who dismantle and disconnect and only stay with one group, they're the ones who create divides, and they are rigid, unforgiving, and they're not the mentally, emotionally, physically intelligent people, and they actively, like an adaptive child, want to say, I'm right about the way to do this. Versus we are here all together. There's something that's going to have to give. And that is exactly why we want smarter human beings out there in positions versus the ones who are not as smart. So the rigid, unforgiving brains, they are not smart. They're in survival mode. They're non-bilaterally integrated. And any person who is smart is going to notice it a mile away because of how they wield their mouth and how they choose to organize their sentences and how they choose to organize their entire community and how they choose to make sure that they might stand out in a different way or da 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 versus trying to do something that makes an impact that involves, again, all inclusiveness, involves, yes, we know that there are things that need to give. How do we get all the smart brains together and how do we bring it to the forefront? Like, I mean, we got flat earthers, they're a group. They're not collaborating. Their brains could be used for something so much bigger, but they don't want to. They want to prove the earth is flat. They're being entertained, though. That's where they're at. Like with, now we got sciences. They want to disprove reality. Why don't you keep building something to help our environment instead of, disproving reality? So it's something noticeable when you have groups that are focused on one little belief versus the ones of us who are wanting to try and be focused and support sustainability. And yeah, so our storytelling here, it's about mindful living, not perfectly, spiritual living, not perfectly. It's unconditionally loving, and that's not perfectly. It's with flaws and integrity, and it's with additional information for all of those of you who are interested in becoming more of yourself. Hopefully, this helps you to understand a lot better that embodied brain. And again, there's a lot of courses that I am still working to finish up, and a lot of them that are finished. And if you're curious for any of them, because you're a person who wants to learn, let me know. I'm glad to share my resources and all that. And for those who have questions, again, you can reach out. So thank you for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content, if you know somebody who will enjoy the content, and a person who does not do the linearity anything. I'm pseudoscience, woo-woo spiritual lady for a reason, and I don't plan on improving any of the way I speak. I know that some people like organized. They can go to their linear people. I'm not an organized in that way. I'm presenting to you concepts. It's food for thought. And then it's for you to understand who I am. So if you're working with me one-to-one mentorship or masterclass, the person who's here building the content, doing the stuff. And, at the end of the day, social media, I didn't realize how many people would take it as if it's school. It's not school. You want technical, you go to school with the smart people. And you find that they chase each other down in the hallways, by the way. I chose not to continue academia for a reason. I don't enjoy egoic people in general. I know that they're not all egoic, and that some work with the ego and self like I do. But the ones who don't, they're really uninteresting to be around. And so I figure I get to be with people who want to be their self, and that's why it's going to be more productive because I get to have those colorful lines. Because, again, if you're doing self-help, you are ready to help yourself, to be yourself, to have fun in life. And you're not needing to go to school first. If you do need to go to school first, well, school is school. Therapy would be included in that reorganizing so that your sense of self is yours and you don't get manipulated by people with batons and that speak, unicorns, rainbows, and sunshines, or the opposite too. But I digress. Thank you for stopping by. We'll be back with more. Have a good one.